lot of nuts!
Hey, what's going on, hyenas, and welcome back to the show. Today, YouTubers are lying to you. Not me though, even though I am a YouTuber. I only tell the truth. It's other YouTubers that will lie. Behind us, we are each guarding a door. One of them leads to your freedom, and the other one leads to two more confusing doors. Good luck, dumbass! In a video that I made a couple weeks ago titled The Death of the YouTube Middle Class, I touched on a number of topics, sort of anti-creator features and changes that YouTube and algorithms overall lead to, but in ways that the algorithm is also detrimental to your viewing experience. And one of the aspects I talked about was clipping culture, something that I got a lot of comments about, stating that people didn't know that's what was going on. To recap, clipping culture is essentially when somebody makes a YouTube video or a long stream, they will take a short 10 to 30 second clip of that stream or YouTube video and then post that onto their TikToks or YouTube Shorts. Everybody is familiar with this. What a lot of people don't know is that these clips get posted thousands and thousands of times by accounts that very specifically only post hype, interesting, viral capable clips from these longer videos by content creators like iShowSpeed or Queso, Sidemen, MrBeast. And the really revealing thing that I feel like a lot of viewers don't think about is the fact that MrBeast, iShowSpeed, and a number of these other content creators are actually paying these accounts to post their short viral clips over and over and over again, to the point where by simply scrolling your TikTok or your Instagram Reels or your Twitter timeline or whatever, you can end up seeing basically every moment from the latest MrBeast video or iShowSpeed stream without having ever clicked on one of their long form videos ever, simply because clippers are doing that job for them and posting all of the most interesting bits for your eyes to scroll through thousands and thousands of times a day. Now, talking about clipping culture was only a small part in the middle of that video that I posted, talking about the way that the algorithm messes up both your experience watching videos and smaller YouTubers' experiences making videos. Despite it just being a small part, I got a number of comments very interested, stating that they were unaware that this is what was going on, that they were being manipulated in such a manner that resulted in them ending up seeing these clips that they think are just from fan channels, but in reality are actually a commercialized manipulation of the algorithm to flood you with as much of these content creators as possible in a way that feels a little bit like cheating. So I thought, let's do an entire video just talking about the ways that YouTubers manipulate the algorithm in order to get you to watch their shit even when you don't consciously decide to. Wouldn't that be interesting? I don't know yet. Before we get into the gist of all the tactics we're talking about today, I want to give a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, Into the AM. If you guys aren't familiar, Into the AM is a clothing and apparel company based out of California that makes a ton of fantastic clothing that you see me wear in my videos all the time. They are currently running their Black November Black Friday sale that runs through the entire month of November, where the entire website is up to 60% off. And no, not a single one of these dope ass graphic tees or anything you see on their website is made with AI. I get this comment so much. AI shirts, AI clothing. None of this is AI. All of their artists work for the company or are collabed with by the company. You can feel good knowing that none of this stuff is slop or taking jobs away from people. In fact, the entire company was founded by creatives like myself, like yourself, in an effort to allow people to express their creativity through the clothing that they wear. If you guys want to pick up anything from the website, you get an extra 10% off of their already up to 60% off Black November promotion using my link in the description or discount code SUMITO. Go buy yourself some dope clothes for this Black Friday, as well as supporting the channel at the same time. I thank you in advance. Shortly after posting my video and realizing that people weren't completely aware of clipping culture, I saw this article posted by Bloomberg titled "Paid Armies of Clippers Boost Internet Stars Like MrBeast." Anthony Fujiwara, age 23, created clipping to turn online stars' content into viral videos. And this interview, or this article rather, is basically interviewing this individual, Anthony Fujiwara, who founded a company titled Clipping, which basically allows for big YouTubers and big content creators to reach out to them and be like, hey, I want to get involved in clipping. And basically they pay a fee, and according to this article, it's like $10,000 a month or something. And they make it so that somebody like MrBeast, and apparently this guy works with MrBeast, can give them their video, their latest "I forced 100,000 people to kiss me on my mouth and tell me that I'm a good YouTuber. Last one gets shot in the head," right? They take the most interesting 30 seconds, 90 seconds of whatever, and then they have an entire team of individuals who post that content relentlessly on Twitter, on YouTube Shorts, on, you know, TikTok and vertically scrolling stuff. And they have a company that does this over and over again, day in and day out. And evidently, there are individuals who can be paid $50 for every 100,000 views that they garner by posting somebody else's content on top of getting paid for all the exposure that they're getting. So you can have a company like Clipping, which is the name of this company, be reached out to by MrBeast, and then not only does MrBeast post a YouTube video that gets 100 million views, but that video also gets posted by tens of thousands of other accounts over and over again on Facebook, on Twitter, on every website that you use to scroll stuff, forcing you to watch the most interesting 30 seconds of MrBeast. God forbid you scroll past it just to be met with 500 more iterations because they're being posted by thousands of different accounts. I think it's obvious once you learn how this culture works to be able to tell why this feels manipulative, but just in case you don't, I'll explain it for you. If MrBeast decides to post a video and that video gets 100 million views, cool. On his main YouTube channel, he can't exactly post that exact same video a second time, right? Or a third time. God forbid 10,000 times in a row, people would stop watching it. It would hurt the metrics and people would stop clicking on his channel and watching his videos because they'd be like, oh my God, this guy just posts the same video over and over again. Why am I even subscribed to this? However, by making it so that he effectively uploads this video 10,000 times across 1,000 different channels, it doesn't really matter if those channels get any subscribers or any long form retention. Those guys aren't YouTubers. They don't need their channel metrics to look good for sponsors or the algorithm or anything. They're just trying to post stuff over and over again so that if the first time they post it and it only gets 1,000 views, the 200th time they post it, it might be the one that goes viral and get 1 million views, and that's the game that these guys are playing. It's more prevalent on places like Twitter and TikTok that doesn't actually care how your account is as a whole, and rather, if one clip starts to take off, it just pushes it onto everybody's feed. That is why you are aware of iShowSpeed and all of the stuff that he's been up to on his trip to China or his trip through the US, or the most interesting bits of a Twitch stream from Queso or Ninja or Shroud, despite the fact that you have probably never clicked on any of those guys' long-form content. Almost none of you have probably watched the entirety of an iShowSpeed stream that might last 2, 3, 4 hours, where most of it is him traveling, but you've definitely watched the most interesting bits of his content because it doesn't matter if you know who he is. If you're subscribed to him or watch his stuff regularly, with 10,000 of his videos, give or take, being posted onto TikTok every single day, it's bound to show up in front of your eyes eventually. And that counts as a view somehow. I think it makes a little bit more sense to look at this less like people posting their videos over and over again and think of it more like running ads, because that's basically what they're doing. No YouTuber is silly enough, generally speaking, to pay for YouTube ads for one of their videos, basically taking a video you think does good and then paying YouTube/Google ad money, like $10,000 or something a month, and then your video gets placed as an ad, because who the fuck is gonna watch a video that's being made as an unskippable prelude to some other video that you clicked on? That's just ridiculous. But if you take that same $10,000 a month and make it so those ads that are your videos are placed on every other website as well as YouTube Shorts and what have you, well, now you're going to get a better return on your investment if you're the type of person who makes the absolute lowest level commercialized slop YouTube videos like MrBeast or whomever else. Well, now you're accomplishing effectively the same thing without having the negative stigma of, oh, this guy is just paying money to get his video in front of my eyes, even though what they're doing is paying money to get their video in front of your eyes. The most socially acceptable version of this that I've seen on YouTube is podcast clips. If you guys are somebody who listens to podcasts, you're probably familiar with this, where any podcast, generally speaking, will have an episode that's an hour or 3 hours long where they just chat shit about whatever. But because most people or some people don't want to sit through an entire 3-hour video of unorganized content, they will typically also have a secondary clips channel where they will take each one of the topics that they talk about, or the most interesting topics, or the most interesting thing that their guest shares some insight on, and that will be cut up into its own 10 or 20 minute video, effectively turning this 4-hour conversation into, I don't know, 10 relatively interesting 10-minute long videos that are all a little bit more specific to that one topic that they cover in that 10 minutes. And it's a relatively good system. If you don't end up watching the whole podcast, perhaps you don't care about episode 59 of the Fridays with the Boys podcast, but perhaps you are interested in one of the guests' stories about how they got hit by a train, and then the I got hit by a train clip that's only 10 minutes long does really well in the algorithm. And if you like it, well, then you can go and watch the full version. But either way, not only are you getting a 4-hour podcast for the main channel, but you're also getting 10 YouTube uploads for the clips channel, and you're getting an entirely, possibly completely different audience that might discover the first channel. It's a regurgitating cycle of taking content and just spitting it out as much as you can over and over again. Some of these people will even go as far as to take the most interesting 30 seconds and also post that to their YouTube shorts or their Twitter. You can see why a company like Clippers, that does effectively the same thing for other sorts of content, would start to make a stupid amount of money from doing exactly this. It feels like when you buy something on Amazon and then Amazon recommends other stuff to you, but it's not something you need more of. Have you ever bought a toilet seat on Amazon? Your toilet seat breaks, you buy a new one, and the Amazon's like, hey, based on your recent shopping, do you need more toilet seats? No! I don't need more toilet seats, Amazon. I got the one that I needed. I'll be back in 8 years maybe, but like, this is a weird recommendation, dude. I've had enough. That's enough about clipping culture. I'll talk about it if it comes up again, but I want to move on to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, right? Where I feel like clipping culture, podcast clips specifically, is like an acceptable gray area to where it's like, listen, there's a little bit of benefit to the viewer. The complete opposite end of it, the absolute genuine, this just is bad for somebody who's clicking on your video to watch it. You are purposefully making their experience worse when they click and watch one of your videos, is content that tries to disguise itself as other content, specifically live streams, video game live streams on Twitch or on YouTube that change their title and thumbnail to make it seem as though it's not a live stream. Generally speaking, when you take a look at the title and thumbnail of a video, you can tell what kind of video it is. For instance, Markiplier's Silent Hill F Part 1. This is very clearly a playthrough of a video game. You're about to watch somebody play a game, probably for the first time, probably unedited. This is probably something that was already live streamed on Twitch and is now just being posted onto YouTube as an archive for people who missed the live stream sort of thing. On the other end, you also have equally long videos, but this is the complete Silent Hill series story retrospective. This is not somebody playing the game. This is somebody using visuals and gameplay of the game as a backdrop visually, but they have a scripted video essay explainer where they are going to give you fine details and explanations of some of the story beats and hidden lore and things of that nature. This is just a funny thumbnail I found titled Silent Hill F is disgusting woke propaganda. Doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about, but you can tell what sorts of videos these are based on the title. But obviously not as many people want to watch an unedited first-time playthrough of a video game that they might want to play themselves if they're searching it up on YouTube. But what I'll find people doing is they will make a video that is titled and thumbnailed something like Silent Hill is the darkest horror game I've ever played, making it seem as though it is going to be this video essay, this answer, this conversation about why it is such. But then you click on the video anticipating that from the title and the thumbnail, and the video is just them playing the game. because they knew if they titled it My First Time Playing Video Game Part 1, you might not click it because who wants to watch that if you weren't looking for it? But if they title and thumbnail it as if it's going to be this interesting, detailed, pre-written, scripted analyzation of the story or the hidden lore, and then just deliver you with, hey, here's the game I played on Twitch 2 weeks ago for you to watch on YouTube, it gets more views, and I think that's kind of fucked up. Ludwig, I think, is one of the people that really pioneered this double dipping of streaming something live and then later editing it into a YouTube video. I don't think he invented this concept, but he did talk about doing this, specifically recording your Twitch stream in a way that you know it's going to become a YouTube video, and that way you kind of get to do both by streaming it. He talked about this in his How to Be a Streamer video that he uploaded on YouTube. And listen, there is a big part of this that there is like nothing wrong with this, right? At the end of the day, if you're going to watch it live on Twitch, you're going to watch it live on Twitch. If you're going to watch it edited on YouTube, there probably isn't a ton of overlap in that. And this might just be a me thing, right? This isn't something that I feel like is a fundamental detrimental thing to everybody's viewing experience. It's something that irks me specifically, which is that he'll upload these videos that are titled as if they're a video. I forced a British man to try every fast. So this is a fast food tier list trying a bunch of fast foods. And without fail, every single one of them will start
to be American. To some, it's the ability to buy a gun.
It'll start with a proper YouTube intro. It'll start with his good microphone. It'll start with him in his fucking office talking to the camera. Look at this one.
Boys, what is...
He starts this exactly like he would a proper YouTube video that wasn't live streamed, despite the fact that he is live streaming it. Everybody does this when they're doing a playthrough and they want to upload a stream highlight, something they live streamed already. They will record after the fact. Hey guys, welcome to this video. Let me introduce it with these concepts and these rules as if this whole thing is going to be this nice polished thing that they've scripted and edited, because that part is. And then 30 seconds into the video quality gets way worse because they're on a streaming webcam. The audio quality gets way worse and echoey because they're not sitting in front of their Shure SM7B anymore. They're on their fucking phone microphone in their car because they're out eating fucking burgers. The video is them talking to chat and the reactions and a whole bunch of filler trying to highlight the best moments of the stream. It isn't this well executed, concise video idea, because it was a stream highlight all along. Obviously, there is a correct way to do this, and Ludwig does a ton of videos where it makes a ton of... There's a bunch of videos on his YouTube channel that are just a cut-up version of something that he streamed live, and the live streaming experience was probably fine, and the end product of the video was chill. But a lot of people do this not correctly. A lot of people do a live stream that they're gonna make a YouTube video out of, and it ends up a shitty live stream because it isn't very good live content for interacting with the chat and stuff, but the video ends up fine. And then a lot of people end up focusing way too much on the live stream, and then the final YouTube video, which is the only thing you see on the YouTube end, turns into this thing that feels disorganized and distracted because you're constantly talking to chat and interacting with the stuff people say or doing goofy things to try to keep the live viewers entertained, that the YouTube video feels completely directionless, and it doesn't feel like this double dipping where you get double the content for just one thing of live streaming and then editing it twice. Rather, it feels like you're making the live stream content worse because you have the structure that you have to adhere to make the YouTube video, and then the YouTube video feels worse because it isn't as structured and polished as it would have been if you didn't also need to live stream the thing at the same time. It feels like you're fucking up both bags. Not to mention, and this is very much a me thing, I don't think everybody feels this way, but I hate being tricked into watching a live stream highlight. If I didn't know, I would prefer it. But having somebody do this polished introduction where they're in front of a camera and they're talking into their microphone after the fact to introduce the premise, and then it cuts to chat on the screen and a whole different layout, and it's like, oh man, I thought I was clicking to watch this video, but instead I'm experiencing the aftermath of something. It's like watching a live concert on someone's phone. You know what I mean? It's like, I wish I was there to have experienced this live. I would prefer if you had just shown me a proper first-party video of the concert, a music video, something that was polished and edited in a way designed to be attractive to the end user at the end of all of this being done. But trying to chop up the best bits and parts of something that was a live performance feels like a worse product in the end. Plus, I get FOMO because now I feel like I'm on the outside of a window looking into a bunch of fun that other people had together when I wasn't there. But Sumito, each one of these media formats have their own strengths and weaknesses. You mean to tell me that if somebody was going to do a Nuzlocke Pokemon challenge where they only use shiny Pokemon, you want the final YouTube video to show the 12 hours they were trying to catch a Zigzagoon at the beginning of the thing and the thousands of resets? No. Of course not. That would make for a shitty video, and I understand why live streaming that content so that you can talk to your chat about what you're doing and just hang out with them, since you're going to be playing the game for 20 hours straight anyway, can be conducive to doing one part live and then editing the actual video together as the clips come in, right? I understand that. But that's like one example I can think of where doing something live and then later cutting it into a video doesn't take away from the final design. Here's what I think is a relatively egregious example. And listen, I love Colin and Samir. These guys have tons of views. They know what they're doing. They're well aware of their format and what have you. But everybody makes mistakes, and I feel like this is one of them. Look at these thumbnails. Every one of these is an interview with a creator for the most part, right? These are all I hung out with MrBeast or Ryan Trahan or whomever. And if you click on any one of these videos, you are probably expecting exactly this, which is them sitting down with a giant YouTuber and talking through their creative process. They have scripted, studied questions and answers, and they're polishing everything up, and it turns into this final product that is a very interesting conversation with a mind that is very creative and probably useful for YouTube videos. But this latest video, The Death of Art on YouTube, is titled and thumbnailed with Casey Neistat in it exactly like it's that same podcast interview, but is instead a panel from their live event convention that they had in NYC, inviting a bunch of people up on stage. And this interview fucking sucks. This interview is the worst. And it's not because Casey Neistat isn't an entertaining, creative individual. And it's not because Colin and Samir didn't have pre-written, thoughtful questions of which to bounce off of Casey. But because this was a live environment, Casey kept doing this shit where he just kept saying the most bombastic, exploitative, I'm using the wrong word. He kept playing to the crowd because there was a crowd. He kept saying stuff like, fuck views, none of this matters, you need to be a real artist, I love this movie, blah, 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 whatever. And it felt so incredibly different from this sit-down podcast environment where it's only the four of them in a room, where it felt less like a directed conversation aiming to hit the points and beats and answer the questions that they had. It wasn't insightful at all. This just felt like Casey Neistat giving the biggest, loudest speech he could to get as many people to clap as possible, and you wouldn't be able to tell that from just the title and thumbnail, because the title and thumbnail sets it up like it's this another one of their personal interviews in their podcast space, and there's this massive disconnect. And I feel like the comments on this video and the views that this video got are entirely reflective of exactly that. Stop tricking me into watching videos by pretending they're other videos.
Have you noticed videos on your feed of people looking slightly off camera with a fancy mic, and it's unclear if anyone's on the other side? So why would someone pretend to have a podcast when they don't actually have one?
Fake podcast clips. I have seen so many clips on TikTok of people who will have this microphone, maybe they have headphones, but they're in a podcasting set, and they will just say something that is very interesting or provocative, or they'll go on this long spiel, and it'll be like, wow, that's a pretty solid podcast clip. This must be an interesting conversation. And then you'll click on their channel to go and watch the long form podcast because you find it interesting and want to watch the whole thing. And that is the whole thing. They didn't cut up a clip to make it interesting, vertical, add text to get you to want to click on their whole thing. They skipped the entire part of making the content to get a piece of viral bit out of it, and they're just making the viral bit. Some of these guys don't even have anybody else in the room. They're just recording themselves right in front of their microphone on their phone because all they need is to go viral on TikTok. They don't care to have a longer conversation. They're just trying to get on the same feed that the Clippers are getting on. What the fuck? The last thing that I'll talk about when it comes to fake content pretending to be other content is video essays. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the format. I talk about them all the time. A video essay is a long form video that is basically an essay. It has a hypothesis, it wants to explain something to you, or it wants to dive into the details of a video game or a horror movie or a true crime or some TV show you watched as a kid or what have you. And it will typically analyze different aspects of the show, something that has required them to go through all the media, play all the games, read all the books, watch the whole show, and then pull out bits to support their hypothesis and provide a conclusion of this TV show sucked, or this TV show revolutionized something, or this game is a perfect analysis of psychosis or psychological horror. And what has happened, because these video essays have gotten so popular, is people have started to do 20% of the work and then call it a video essay. So often I will see a video essay about Persona or Silent Hill, and I'll click this 2-hour-long video expecting for them to have some sort of insightful opinion, some sort of new way of looking at things, some sort of explanation of something I might have missed in the lore or the hidden details, and instead it will just be 90% of them explaining the story. I clicked on a video saying Silent Hill is the perfect analysis of psychosis or something like that, and 45 minutes of this 1-hour video is just telling me the story of James Sunderland in Silent Hill 2. And it's like, listen, I love Silent Hill 2, but I know the fucking story. That's why I clicked on what I thought was a video essay for 90% of the video to just be you explaining every character, every beat, the entire story, only to then at the end be like, yeah, so James isn't a perfect person, but hey, nobody is. You just wasted the fuck out of my time. This isn't a video essay. It's a story summary. Let me know what sorts of fake content pretending to be other content. You guys probably have other examples, I'm sure, down in the comments. But we're going to move on to the next thing, which is changing titles and thumbnails. And this pisses me off so much. I think my anger towards this, my feelings about it in general are disproportionate to how much it actually matters. But it is something that is incredibly frustrating with the algorithm, right? I was watching this Tier Zoo video on a second channel, Zir2, which is a great second channel name, by the way, where he talks about changing titles and thumbnails. He basically made a tier list talking about all the best YouTube advice he made in a previous video. One of the things he scored highly was testing different thumbnails and titles on your video, and he got a lot of flack for that in the comments, with people saying, we fucking hate when we watch a video or don't click on a video and then the creator changes the title and thumbnail, resulting in this meme, which is the Fell For It Again award guy, but it's the Change the Thumbnail Again award. And I'm sure you guys have seen this with any big channel for the most part. MrBeast, Tier Zoo, Colin Smear, anybody. The second that a video isn't a 1 out of 10 exponentially performing video, they will swap the title and thumbnail, or they'll automate it using YouTube's behind the scenes A/B testing that'll automatically swap it for you, and it'll basically make it so that this video that is exactly the same will have a different title and thumbnail over and over again until it finds the perfect one to get the most amount of people to click on. And viewers fucking hate this shit. From the viewer's perspective, it feels like shit. When you watch a video, you see a title, you see a thumbnail from a creator that you recognize, you click the video, you watch the video, you enjoyed the video. And then like 6 hours later, or the following day, or the following week, you will see a different title, a different thumbnail from this creator that you like. And you click that video because you're like, oh, is this something new? Did they do a second video talking about mouthwashing? No. It's the video you already watched. It's just got a different title and thumbnail because you're stupid. That's why, because you clicked a lackluster title and thumbnail that no idiot would ever click on, so the YouTuber had to make it better, more clickable, better title. That's the one you should have clicked on, dumbass. You fell for the low-level bait, when in reality, you should have only ever clicked on this better title and thumbnail. Don't you feel silly? And then it's even worse on the opposite end of things, because like you'll see a video uploaded by somebody and you'll be like, I don't find that interesting, I'm not gonna click on it. And then the title and thumbnail changes and you're like, is this a different video? Is this a second thing? And it ends up being that same video you weren't interested in, but YouTube is serving it to you again because they're like, well, maybe you'll like it packaged this way. I didn't want to watch it the first time. Now, changing your titles and thumbnails are not necessarily malicious in every single instance that they exist, right? Because sometimes you just don't know what people are going to click on. Do you title and thumbnail it this way? Do you title and thumbnail it that way? Maybe you put up 2 or 3 examples and let YouTube sort out whatever it is that this algorithm decides is a good title and thumbnail. Because you know something that's interesting, clickable, and is like related enough to your brand that the people who watch you anyway are going to recognize one of your videos. But if the difference between a green background and a blue background is 100,000 views, maybe you just try both and then let YouTube sort out what it is. But these things get used maliciously. Maybe maliciously is not the right word, but the people game the system using them quite a bit. If you take a look at this video, I don't know why I have this example in my head. This Flappy Bird video by PewDiePie, when Flappy Bird was becoming this big thing that everybody was talking about, PewDiePie had uploaded a video playing it, but the video only had Flappy Bird in the middle of it. If you take a look at the description here, he actually says, hey, Flappy Bird doesn't start until 4 minutes into this 8-minute video. I changed the name on this because everybody kept asking me to play Flappy Bird, even though I've already played it. So this was Random iPhone Games episode 26, but he changed the title and thumbnail to be like, hey, hit new released game that's going viral, and now this has almost 40 million views from 11 years ago, right? That's not the end of the world. That's kind of just smart. But one thing that I did notice, or I did remember, was this video by the gamer from Mars. Back when Dr. Disrespect was banned, and everybody was wondering why Dr. Disrespect was banned, the gamer from Mars uploaded this video, and it was titled and thumbnailed The Truth, or Uncovering What Happened with Dr. Disrespect's Ban. And in reality, he doesn't do any of that. He sets up the video as if it's titled and thumbnailed like he has information we don't, and he's going to tell us why Dr. Disrespect was banned. And if you take a look at some of the comments from back there, you can see, so not really uncovering as much as laying out what we know so far. I actually thought there was going to be answers to this, but nope, just more theories and speculation, sadly. That title and thumbnail set a expectation that was never going to be met because nobody knows what happened to Dr. Disrespect to get him banned from Twitch. But now, after that feedback, he's changed the title and thumbnail to be much less concrete and much more, hey, I'm just going to lay out what we know, the secret truth, the termination of Doctor's special report, right? Much more general, but he's already gotten the views. He uploaded a video at the time that was like, I know something you don't, tricked people, basically, to getting to watch and click on that video, thinking he had some sort of information that he didn't. But if it wasn't for that comment, or the fact that I remember what that upload title and thumbnail was, you might see this video and be like, oh, this is exactly what I anticipated for. He gets to take advantage of that clickbait, and then erase that clickbait from history because he changed the title and thumbnail to something less extravagant and bombastic. Bro, what? This is more of a personal pet peeve more than it is some sort of malicious manipulation of tactics by YouTubers, but I hate when I watch a challenge of some sort and they very clearly set the rules of the challenge after they've already completed it. You know what I mean? You ever watch somebody try to beat Pokemon with only one Pokemon, or try to beat a video game without healing or something? And at the beginning of the video, they'll be like, let's set some ground rules. I am only allowed 7 deaths. Wow, that's an oddly specific amount of deaths. Are you sure you're setting that as a rule at the beginning of the challenge and not just telling us before the video starts that you died 6 times? And you're kind of bending the rules after the fact to make it okay in this completely arbitrary challenge that you were already setting the rules for at the beginning? Like, what the fuck? I'm allowed to release 1 Pokemon. Oh, so you got 80% of the way through the challenge and then realized you can't beat the Elite Four without a Psychic type. So you reset and got yourself a Psychic type to not waste 18 hours, right? Right? Let's be honest. I'm gonna call it there because I could go on forever, but this video's long enough as it is. If you've made it to the end of this, thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton if you hit the like button. And again, link in description to pick up something from Into the AM. Their Black Friday sale is running all month, so feel free to pick up anything you want with an extra 10% off using my link, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Shpisu.